Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, in today's video, I kind of wanted to do something a little more heavy than last week's video because I did get some feedback saying a lot of you guys are here for more of the intense, soul searchy readings. Oh, sorry, I just had to check if the flame is directly at my camera, which it is. So, we're going to move the candle a little bit. But I got a lot of feedback based on both comments and just the views in general that a lot of you guys are into the more heavy, soul searchy, intense spiritual growth type readings. And so am I. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to take a look at what ancestral patterns you are here to break. What ancestral karmic cycles end with you. So whether you believe in, our ancestors being around us and guiding us in a spiritual or psychic sense, or if you just believe the psychological patterning that is handed down from generations affects our day to day, in today's reading, we're going to try and take a look at which patterns you've been almost handed since birth, what they mean to you, why you are here to break them, and how you can go about breaking them. So that's just a general overview of the reading. As always, we have 3 piles in front of us. For pile number 1, we have this really cool rock that it looks so opaque, but if I hold it against the light, okay, do you see how see-through it is when I hold it in front of the candle? It's like a bluey greeny tone, and yeah, it's see-through but deceptively opaque. For pile number 2, we have this long, chunky boy. You guys know I love my long, chunky boys. And the candle is going a little crazy right now. And for pile number 3, we have a clear green stone. So go ahead and pick a pile that calls to you intuitively. All of the timestamps are in the description below. If this reading resonates, of course, do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hello to all the new faces out here today. Thank you for being here. But yeah, go ahead and pick your pile, and I'll see you guys at your reading. Pile number 1, hello, welcome to your reading about what ancestral patterns you are here to break. So if you picked this deceptively opaque looking stone, little coloured glass pebble, which is actually quite see-through, as you can tell when I hold it against the candle, then welcome to your reading. So before we even get into the cards, let me just tell you, your cards were extremely eager to jump out. And I really feel breaking this ancestral pattern, whatever we find out, I haven't taken a look at the cards yet, whatever we find out, I do think that breaking this pattern is a huge part of your soul mission in this lifetime, and you are so ready to just get right into it whenever you're watching this. So the way I have structured this reading today is these first 2 cards are going to tell us what the pattern is that you are here to break. These 2 cards are then going to tell us where it came from, what sort of time, what sort of era or generation it might have come from. And then we have some more clarity on, how this affects your life and why specifically you've chosen to come here and break this pattern, because I do believe that we choose to incarnate in certain difficult situations in order to bring some change. So we'll have some clarity on this. And then towards the end, we'll take a look at some advice on what might make it a lot easier for you to work through this pattern and break it and stop the cycle from repeating. So yeah, let's go right ahead. I'm excited. Your first card is the Two of Cups. Relationships. And we have trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? Yeah, do you see how it kind of feels like there's a couple behind her? I feel like whatever this is, there's our confirmation bike in the background. I don't know if the mics picked that up. But this might have to do with some sort of relationship drama. Maybe you come from a line of very unhealthy marriages or unhealthy partnerships. And because of this, you might have sort of lost faith in partnership. I'm specifically hearing like romantic partnerships or like, life partner, soulmate type relationships. And maybe a big part of your soul mission is to have a healthy romantic relationship in this lifetime. Maybe you've had several in the past that have fallen apart due to the patterns, but we'll dive into it a little deeper. But yeah, if this sort of sounds like something you might be dealing with, then congrats, you're in the right place. But if you feel like, actually, no, relationships have always been smooth sailing, maybe this might not be a pile, maybe pick a different pile. But yeah, I feel like if you're here, you probably know. And I think when it comes to these romantic relationships that haven't worked out for you in the past, it almost feels like you get intuitive hits pretty much instantly. Ooh. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so I'm speaking from experience here, but maybe you're the kind of person who you've seen so many not so healthy relationships in your life, maybe from the grown-ups in your life, that you're kind of adamant on you're kind of stuck on forcing a healthy relationship, even if deep down in your gut you know that this is not the person for you. I've done this before, like seriously. So maybe it's your soul's mission this time to set a healthy example for, future generations in your family of, what a good, happy, mutually respectful relationship is. However, to find that kind of nuance there of knowing what a good relationship is yourself first and not just settling for the first person that comes along. Just because you're trying to prove that you can maintain a relationship. Does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense to you, pile one. So that's probably going to be the overall theme. That's the pattern that we're looking at today. So where/when this might have come from, we have the King of Swords in reverse. And we have Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. Maybe this is so maybe this is a masculine figure who has almost been in like a state of toxic masculinity. To the point where they are just not connected to their intuition whatsoever. Or they might have a strong intuition, but they just actively deny working with it or working from it. If you know of someone in your family who may have had very strong psychic gifts, but they kind of suppressed it or were forced to suppress it, especially a masculine figure. Doesn't have to be, because masculine energy in general, it talks about the more logical, structured, physical, reality-based type energy. And a lot of the times we kind of see this energy be almost glorified, whereas the more feminine, dark, gentle, intuitive energy is shunned. And this definitely feels like a masculine or male relative or ancestor who not only did they suppress their own intuitive gifts, they suppressed the gifts of their partner, which then I think there's loads of theories about psychic gifts out there, right? And I do to some extent believe that a lot of psychic gifts, especially like strong ones that really come out, tend to be a little scary for people to accept and work with, but B, passed down through the generations. And maybe you come from a long line of very deeply intuitive psychic people who have denied their gifts for whatever reason. Maybe it's the literal like patriarchy, or, you know, the more organized religion type deals. And because of that, you've only seen very, I keep hearing misogynistic relationships, you know, where like the more masculine partner is kind of the more respected one, whereas the more feminine partner is kind of seen as inferior and needs to cater to the masculine partner, that kind of thing. And because of that, oh, okay, so that works. Yeah, that makes sense. So because of this kind of glorification of the masculine and shunning of the feminine type energies, you've found that when it comes to relationships, you want to prove that you can have a healthy, balanced, not so one-sided relationship because you've seen your ancestors fail at doing that. But B, you're trying to do that while also shunning your own intuitive hits. Like when a relationship is not the one for you, I think deep down you know. And I think you either actively or subconsciously kind of push that away because you are so eager to prove a point, to prove that you can have a relationship that's better than everyone else's in your family. Look, I'm not trying to attack you because like, I feel like if I had to intuitively choose a pile, which I'll probably do a few weeks from now when I've forgotten what this reading was, I will probably end up picking this one. Okay, so I'm speaking to you as someone who can absolutely identify with this kind of behavior. It is fine, you know, it's okay to feel that way, but it is important for us to know our tendencies, right? So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting so far. Let's go ahead and check out how this affects you, how this pattern affects you, why you as a soul chose to incarnate here and break this cycle, all of that jazz. So the first card we have is the Page of Cups in reverse. There we go. So every time this card comes up, I feel the need to explain it. But with the art, with the illustration here, this red thread is the thread of fate that connects soulmates together. And so when we see this card in reverse, it does feel like a karmic relationship. It feels like you come from a long, long line of karmic relationships, and not in the good way. Karmic relationships can be good where, you know, you and a partner or you and a friend or whatever the relationship is, you have a joint mission to work on some karmic debts together. And that's a good thing. Karmic relationships can be extremely toxic where you have sort of a lot of unresolved trauma to work through from previous lifetimes. in this case, it definitely feels like the more toxic kind of karmic relationship, especially with the King of Swords in reverse. And when there's karmic relationships, the karmic element of it does not just stay within the bounds of that relationship. And that's the scary thing about, karmic anything, is it's like a free radical for all my chemistry, biology friends out there who understand it. Free radicals are kind of like these hyperactive elements that will go and latch onto everything they come across and destroy everything they come across. And that's kind of what karmic situations to me feel like, is unless you actively take a role in healing them, they will go about like free radicals and destroy everything in their path and just create more free radicals, more karma for other people. And then the cycle continues. And I think the big reason you are here is to stop this kind of relationship karma that has, plagued your bloodline for centuries, I'm hearing. So yes, while you are here to set a better example of what a healthy relationship looks like for your descendants, be that your direct children or, just young people who grow up looking up to you, I also feel a big part of it is you not wanting to involve more souls in the karmic cycle, in the karmic baggage of all of this. So, I feel like I want to talk to you forever. There's judgment in reverse. Interesting. I think I want to look at the keywords, because I find that the keywords for this deck specifically tend to carry so many answers. Oppression, lack of self-awareness, failure, repeated mistakes, self-loathing. Well. So, yeah, it definitely feels like you come from a line of very oppressive relationships where love has been conditional and transactional, and you are here to almost kind of advocate for what love truly is, and that is free. Love is gentle and creates opportunities rather than taking them away or suppressing them for other people. And I think you as a soul, you feel like a soul that has been through some very solid challenges. I feel like you've incarnated during times of war. I feel like you've incarnated during times of strife, of, epidemics, things like that. But then as a soul, you find that this might be your most important purpose yet, is to defend the idea of what love is supposed to be. Oh, that is powerful, pile number one. Oh my goodness. Okay. And we have the sun in reverse. Do you feel pessimistic about your love life? Pile one. Maybe you're just coming out of a breakup and it feels like a pretty major one too. And it almost feels like there was nothing there, and there was nothing there. It's that phrase that always comes to me when I need to hear it. Let's just say it's trying to plant on barren ground. It's trying to grow a plant on barren soil. And I feel like you knew, because you do have that intuitive side to you that you haven't explored, or you may have actively suppressed because you thought it would be ridiculed or whatever. I'm just going to come out and say it, Pearl One, you deserve to express every part of you, and you deserve a relationship that helps you feel that way, that opens that conversation for you, that you feel comfortable opening any conversation in, really. You deserve a relationship where you don't have to hide parts of you. You don't have to feel oppressed. And you don't have to feel, well, you absolutely should not be feeling any sort of self-loathing or self-criticism because of something your partner said or your partner believes. And I think because you've come across so many people that almost feel like a repeat of this person here, I think you're feeling the pessimism. You're feeling like, well, the kind of person I want and need just probably doesn't even exist. So what's even the point? Part 1. That's just not true. I promise you this. There is someone out there, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to fulfill this mission. It's like physically impossible for you to set a good example of a healthy relationship if this person doesn't exist. And your soul would just not have incarnated if that was the case. So there is definitely someone out there. Okay, I'm telling you now. So to clarify the Page of Cups in reverse, we have the Ace of Coins in reverse. A lot of reversals. Okay, part 1, do you come from like an unconventional family where you may have had an absent parent, you may have lost a parent quite early on? But with the Ace of Coins in reverse, it almost feels like it feels like opportunities have been taken away from you. Oh, I've just suddenly started to get really warm and like uncomfortable. Oh, pile 1. Are you okay? Maybe there's like a wave of anxiety. It almost feels like you've been denied opportunities to find love because you've been so busy tending to all these heartbroken people that you come from. And you have to understand that was just part of the cycle. That heartbreak, all of that. It goes back to what I was saying about, karmic situations. They are never just self-contained. They always pass on. They pass forward. And all these people that, are up your bloodline, all of these people only feel that way because they've seen their parents feel that way, who have seen their parents feel that way, and on and on and on, until you go back to this person where it all started. And there is just, I feel like you were never allowed to feel love. It was almost like it was taboo for you to feel it. At least like the romantic aspect of love. It feels like you were almost resented for wanting that because so many people have had it fall apart for them. Interesting. Clarifying the Judgment in reverse, we have the 3 of Wands. A change of scenery, part 1, might really help you, because the 3 of Wands talks about going to distant shores, taking that leap of faith. Maybe your person is quite far away from home, or from what you would call home. Might be a different city, different country, different continent, a very different culture. And maybe a lot of this is cultural, and it would make sense that it would take kind of like an outsider to help you break that cycle. That is so interesting. It feels like you and whoever this person is that you end up with you have like a joint mission, but it's kind of like you're working it from the inside and they're like working it from the outside. Yeah, I feel like you're both here to defend the idea of what love is. And maybe they come from a generational cycle where they've had very healthy relationships, and their mission is to then spread that into other family units. Whereas yours is to kind of bring that energy into your family unit. Oh, that is so lovely. Oh my goodness. And to clarify, the sun in reverse is the Seven of Swords. Interesting. So maybe there's been some sort of like infidelity, you know, some sneakiness going on in your relationship status. Maybe that's what's led to this pessimism. But that's kind of why you're here. I hate saying that, because I'm not trying to imply that you are here to be cheated on and you are here to be hurt in any way whatsoever. Of course not. That's like a horrible thing to imply, that you would want this. No one wants to feel this way. But from a higher perspective, it is important for you to go through these experiences as someone who would break the cycle. Because if you were to just come in all brash and try to break a cycle like this that has been going on for generations, you might do it in a harsh, unempathetic way. Whereas having gone through this yourself, through all these toxic relationships that your ancestors have also gone through, having experienced that pain firsthand, you know better how you can go about breaking the cycle while doing minimal damage to those who have come before you. And that might be why / how this has affected you in this way, is so that when you do go about making different choices, you do it with a sense of empathy for those who have gone through this pain before you. Okay, so let's get some advice really quickly, Pile 1, for how you can go about breaking these cycles. Whoa. Big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Do you find that you've been thinking small? Thinking, oh, maybe that goes with that Three of Wands energy of, you know, maybe look beyond your immediate surroundings. I'm sorry. Defenselessness, righting past wrongs, uprooting. Again, Pile 1. Did I call you Pile 3? Sorry if I did. I feel like I did. But Pile 1, I feel like you are entering a phase in your life where you are kind of uprooting, maybe literally in the sense of you're moving away from home, or you're moving to a completely different environment. And that will bring this person in, and that will help you work on this situation. Maybe keep an eye out for opportunities to move away from home, Pile 1, because that might really, really push you forward on this mission. That's about everything I'm seeing for you today, Pile 1. So, interesting reading. Thank you so much for sharing your energy, and thank you to your ancestors for sharing their energy with me today. I really hope it resonated, and if it did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. I really hope you have a wonderful day ahead, and I hope you find this person very, very quickly and you don't have to feel this pessimism anymore. But yeah, thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 2, hello, welcome to your reading. So if you chose this long, chunky boy, then this is your reading about what ancestral patterns you are here to break. So the way I've structured this reading is these first two cards are going to tell us what the actual pattern is. These two will tell us where this began, or with whom, or what generation, what time period this pattern may have come from. Then these 6 cards, we're going to have 3 cards and 3 clarifiers. These are going to tell us how this affects your life, why you as a soul specifically chose this pattern to break. And then we'll get a couple of oracle cards as advice on how you can go about breaking this pattern. So the first pile I recorded was actually very interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here. So pile 2, your first card is the Queen of Coins. Immediately I heard hyper independence, but let's see. We have you are already doing it. Stop overthinking, keep facing your true north. Interesting. Pile 2, do you struggle a lot with feeling like you're not doing enough? Or feeling almost like guilt for not doing more than you're capable of doing? I think this might be my pile where you come from a situation where you're expected to do everything for everybody and not complain about it, not ask for a break, not need a break even. You're almost expected to have superhuman levels of capability in order to serve other people around you. Because this Queen of Coins is giving me hyper independence, almost to a point where it's like toxic independence, where you find it nearly impossible to ask for help when you need it or ask for a break when you need it. Yeah, I heard some honking. That's confirmation right there. Interesting. And maybe you come from a long line of these hyper-independent, self-sacrificing people, especially self-sacrificing women. Because I find, at least in like the society that I come from, it's usually like a lot of women in a lot of families tend to be the kind who make all these sacrifices, who serve the people around them, often at cost to their own well-being. So maybe you come from a similar situation as I do. And recognizing this is going to be part of your cycle to break. Recognizing where you are showing these similar traits, because you might be the kind to almost preach the idea of self-care and self-indulgence and, you know, taking a break and nurturing yourself. And then you turn around and do the opposite to yourself. And you think it doesn't count because it's you. Everyone else needs breaks, but you don't. Everyone else needs help, but you are loath to ask for it. And this definitely comes from several generations of conditioning. And okay, so the reason I felt that way with this Queen of Coins card is because the image here, it's kind of like she's holding the coin and she's not going to ask anyone else for any coins. And she's kind of like, I got this. I can do every single thing by myself. I don't need anyone or anything to help me get to my goals. But almost it feels like in a toxic way. And even on this card, the You Are Already Doing It card, it feels like, do you see there's one person, one woman, it looks like, because they're wearing a dress. You know, obviously anyone can wear a dress, but, you know, the imagery. It feels almost like a toxic amount of hyper-independence. Stop overthinking, keep facing your true north. Yeah, I feel like you second guess yourself a lot because of this. Because sometimes you realize that your human limitations are coming into play. And because of this, it's kind of like you're not able to do all the things that you want people to know that you do. I don't know how to explain this, but it almost feels like you live to impress. You want to impress people. And it's to the point where you are physically hurting yourself. It almost feels like you're physically like putting yourself through so much pain in order to prove that you don't need help. And I definitely think that that's a cyclical way of thinking that has been passed down to you by maybe your mother or like a maternal figure, a grandmother, something like this, where you almost feel guilt for asking for help. And then you feel like your ego has been bruised if people offer to help. Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. So if you feel like this resonates so far, then this is definitely your pile. And I'm not trying to roast you today, but I'm not going to mince words. Okay, so mentally prepare before we dive into the next couple of cards. So let's go ahead and take a look at where this cycle comes from, or what sort of generation, what time period, something like this. We have the Emperor. Again, is that Aries energy? And the Emperor is an Aries major arcana card. And as an Aries sun myself, I can tell you that hyper independence goes crazy. The crumbling, what are you clinging onto? Interesting. Where does the cycle come from? Okay. Do you come from like a joint family where you have, a head of the household and then everyone around them, and it's like you work so hard to impress this one person? Even though in this card there's like a masculine figure, it's like the Sword in the Storm and King Arthur, I think. It almost feels like this doesn't need to be a masculine person, is what I'm trying to say. It always feels like this person is in a very masculine energy of go, 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 go. Whereas you may require some time to sit in your feminine energy of like relaxation and slowing down and, taking your time and gently opening back up and gently reviving all of your gifts and talents and all of that. I think you are by nature very feminine in the spiritual sense, not in like the physical world understanding of femininity, but in the sense of being a gentler moving person, being someone who works better in cycles, who works better in, longer term things. Does that make sense? I feel like instead of doing a 9-to-5 work day, you might work better with like a more chaotic schedule, which works more intuitively for you. And maybe that's that crumbling. Yeah, you're definitely here to kind of dismantle certain systems. Okay, so this number 4, maybe this is like 4 generations above you, because that's stood out to me just now. And do you see the like juxtaposition here of the Emperor and the Queen? But the Emperor is essentially the king, right? It's trying to bring some of that equivalent feminine energy into the mix. So, Yeah, let's take a look at some more details because this is very interesting energy. Okay, so our first card is the Six of Coins. That will make sense. The Six of Coins is generosity, is giving, almost to a point of overgiving. Yeah, do you see what I mean? I think you're an overgiver. I think you have issues receiving, which is probably why you have issues asking for help. Because you're constantly in the Six of Coins energy. And maybe you've been taught that this is the noble and correct way to live, pile 2. Which, sure, it is noble, but if you were here to be noble, you'd be born into nobility. You know what I mean? The next card is the Devil. There we go. Authority. It's that Capricorn energy of unfair contracts. I think, yeah, unfair contracts could be like the name of your biography, honestly. Because I feel like you overcommit so much. And you do pull through, but you pull through in terms of the outcome, but you never pull through for yourself. I feel like you fall apart by the end of... You fall apart by the time you've kind of fulfilled everything that you promised everyone you would do. And this almost feels like... Do you see how the snake here is almost forming like an infinity loop? On and on and on and on again. It's like you never stop to breathe, pile 2. You need to stop to breathe. And there's another snake here. Snakes to me feel very, cyclical, very death and rebirth. And the snake is the ultimate symbol of feminine nature, at least in my opinion. It's that slow, slithering energy in the darkness, doesn't make a sound, but you will feel its presence. That kind of energy. Yeah, I think okay, so we've had this message before today of like stepping a little more into your feminine side, but in this case it feels a little more work oriented. Or, chore or commitment oriented. Where we want you to make sure that when you commit to something, you're getting as much from it as you are giving, and you are not over giving. You are not giving so much of yourself that you kind of lose a part of you. You don't ever want to do something for someone and come away from it less of yourself. Wow, that's not something I've ever said before. That felt like actual channeling. So your third card is the 10 of Cups in reverse. Oh, okay. This almost feels like a fear, and not just a fear that you have, but okay. I'm trying to put my words together. I feel like you're such a fast-paced fast-paced person. I can't even think right. I feel like you're such a fast-paced person that you're kind of itching for me to get all of the words out all at once because you have things to do. Sit down, pile 2. Stop it. I say this to my mom all the time. Sit down, take a breath. You're not here to do. You are here to be. So just sit in one place and be. But okay, the point I was trying to make before all of this happened was maybe you have this learned fear of the house will fall apart if I'm not constantly go, 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 go. My life will fall apart if I'm not constantly doing something. I won't have this happy family if I don't constantly give of myself. I won't be loved, I won't be appreciated, I won't be celebrated unless I give so much of myself and my energy and my time that people celebrate the martyrdom of my existence. They celebrate the sacrifice that I make for the people that I love. And the reason I say this is a learned fear is because this is not a natural instinct. None of us are born thinking this way. And I really do think that this is a generational thought process that has been passed down to you. Be that, directly by someone saying this to you, or just from you watching people as you were growing up, watching how people give so much of themselves in order to try and earn people's love and acceptance. That's how that's affecting your life. Is that underlying current of that fear of I am only worthy if I can give, if I have something to give. So to clarify the 6 of coins, we have the Ace of coins. This may affect your work life as well, Pile 2. Maybe you tend to be extremely generous. Maybe if you're like a business owner or something, maybe you tend to be a little too generous. Perhaps you don't collect payments when they're due, or you give too many freebies, things like that. You don't value your services and your product enough to ask for a fair price. Oh, that felt like a read on myself. Maybe you tend to undervalue your services to the point where you're giving away so much for free that no one else values them. That could be another way this overgiving nature is affecting your day-to-day. Clarify the devil, we have the 8 of coins. There we go. It's all about working entirely too hard for you, Pal 2. This is not okay. This is not healthy. Because it feels like you want to be free. You want to be like these, swans that are flying away in the background. But you're stuck here doing all the work while everyone else is free. You're stuck here doing their work as well. How to? You need to just, do the Aries thing. Do the chaotic thing. And just stop for a day. See what happens. What's the worst that will happen? The world will fall apart? I don't think it will. I think the world continued going before you were here, and it will continue to go after you're here. You being on this planet is a small, minuscule fraction of time, but it is an opportunity with infinite possibilities. And you are doing yourself and the world a disservice by living this life for someone else or for several other people. And more importantly, you are then going to end up passing this fear down to your children or your grandchildren or your, descendants, whoever they may be. And I genuinely do think you love them too much to allow this. And that's why you need to break the cycle. Which is funny because I feel like that's the only terms in which I can convince you to break the cycle is to do it for someone else. Oh, Pile 2, I want to give you a big hug. And then I'm going to be like, don't hug me back. Sit with that hug. See how that feels. To just receive and not give back. How does that feel? Our final clarifier is the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, interesting. Because, sorry, my throat's a little because I've been talking for so long. Because cycles are wheels, and it almost feels like you are here to change the fortune of everyone that comes after you. It feels like once you're able to step away from this extremely subservient energy, you might find that your luck just changes pretty much overnight. You're instantly getting the reservations that you wanted. You're instantly getting freebies. You're instantly getting paid your worth at work. You're instantly finding new clients. And ironically, it's because you don't work quite as hard anymore. I didn't go into this reading expecting an outcome, but it's right there. I feel like you might think it a fluke when it happens, when you do eventually take a moment for yourself and stop, living for all these other people. And you notice that suddenly your life has just completely changed. Suddenly everything is working for you, not against you. You might think it chance or fate, but it's not. It is your reward for breaking the cycle. And the more you indulge yourself, the more you get lucky. Which, I mean, it's not luck at all, is it? It's your reward for breaking these cycles. I feel like I'm talking in circles now. So finally, let's take a look at some advice on how you can go about breaking this overworked cycle, which to your brain probably feels amazing because it's more work to do. Again, I'm sorry, defenseless, writing past wrongs, uprooting. This came out for the last pile I read as well. Here it really does feel like an apology from your ancestors. I feel like they're coming in to just sincerely apologize for putting all of this on your shoulders. It feels like that. I was just watching Moana today, and this genuinely feels like that moment where, her grandma's soul comes back towards the end. If you haven't watched the movie, this probably doesn't make any sense to you, but it's like her grandma's soul comes back and Moana's like, Grandma, I couldn't do it. It was too difficult, the task that you set me. And her grandma's like, I never should have put so much on your shoulders. That's the feeling I get with this I'm sorry card. I feel like your ancestors in their spirit form now understand that what they passed on was not good whatsoever. And if you are ready to break the cycle, they are with you. Advice for Pearl 2. Whoa. Oh, both of those? Okay, we'll take them both. You're not alone. What did I just say? Isolation, physical connection, community. I just told you, you are not alone. They are with you. If you're ready to break the cycle, you are so supported. And in fact, this might be asking you to reach out to other people in your family who might be dealing with a similar issue, with similar feelings. Maybe talk to a parent, a grandparent, a sister, a cousin, a brother, anyone who may feel the repercussions of this conditioning as well. Because then you'll find that actually it's not just you alone dealing with this, that it is something you were taught collectively. And we have the courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. That's exactly it. You need to stop hiding behind this whole thing where you are constantly doing for other people so that no one takes an issue with you, as in with who you are. They don't even know who you are. They only know what you do for them. And I think pile 2, it is time for you to step away from that energy and step into your light and shine it out and let people respond to it. So that's the message we have for you, pile 2. Thank you so much for hanging out and, allowing me to read for you. This was soothing for my soul. So I really hope it was soothing for yours as well. Thank you for sharing your energy. Thank you for your ancestors coming here and sharing their message to you through me. We've both grown from this, I hope. But yeah, if this reading resonated, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Stick around until the outro for another reading on my channel. And thanks for spending some time with me today. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Hi, pile 3, and welcome to your reading about what ancestral cycles are you breaking. So if you chose this green glass stone, it almost makes me think of like seawater. It's like that kind of greeny bluey color. Then this is your pile. Before we dive into the message, I have to say yours was the easiest spread to make. I feel like your cards were so polite. Does that make sense? I feel like your cards fell out exactly the way I wanted them to. No fussing, no jumping around, falling to the floor, nothing like that. They came out in the exact numbers I wanted them to, in the exact positions I wanted them to. It was amazing. Your energy, you feel like a sweetheart, pile 3. And I feel like I would want to just protect you, honestly. You have such a gentle spirit, such a gentle heart. Okay. The way I've laid this reading out is these first 2 cards are going to tell us what pattern you're here to break. These 2 will tell us where it comes from, what, part of your lineage it might come from, what time period, what generation this karmic cycle comes from. Then we have some more details about your cycle, about how it affects you in the present timeline and why you chose to break this, why you, the soul, chose to break this specific cycle. And then we'll pull out a couple of oracle cards for advice on how you can do this in the most efficient, easy way possible. So let's dive in. I'm excited because your energy is so gentle. Pile 3. We have the 10 of Swords in reverse. And we have, dance with life. Do something to change your energy. This feels, okay, maybe your gentleness has a lot to do with this. Do you know what you remind? Okay, so there's this show I'm watching called Travelers. And there's this one character that is supposed to be a jock, but without going too much into detail, their personality is a lot gentler and a lot more like old soul-y than it is brash and, hyper toxic or whatever. I think you might come from a line of very... Okay, this might be triggering. So, I do apologize, and if it starts to trigger you, please don't watch the rest of this because I feel like it's going to be one of those readings. But you might come from a line of very angry, very violent people. And it almost feels like because of how kind and sweet and gentle you are as a person, you might have been an easy target for these people. This is not going to be an easy reading, pile 3. I'm going to tell you that now. But if you're here, it's because there's something here for you to listen to. So if you feel up to it, then let's go ahead. Maybe you come from a very difficult family. It feels almost counterintuitive that you might choose to incarnate in such circumstances, being as kind and gentle as you are. But I think you are exactly what your bloodline needs. And that's because you are here to lead by example. You may have been ridiculed, it feels, with this Dance with Life card, although that's not what the card means or stands for. It almost feels like you're the kind who would dance to anything. You could listen to a bunch of birds chirping and that would make you so happy you want to dance. And you might have been ridiculed for that. You might have been ostracized from the rest of the family for not engaging in these kinds of like toxic behaviors. You may not be as loud or, harsh with your words as the rest of your family is. It almost feels like you stick out like a sore thumb when compared to the rest of this. This definitely feels like family stuff. And you are definitely here to heal that pattern of violence, and there might be some vices involved. I'm not going to lie to you, Palfrey. There might be some addictions involved that exacerbate the violence and things like that. And I think you, as a powerful soul, I don't even know how to describe to you, Pile 3, how I feel about your energy right now. Because it feels like your kindness and gentleness has been labeled as weakness. You've been seen as like the tiny little personality that cowers away from danger or whatever. But that's not true at all. This is not weakness at all. It would have been easy for you to follow that toxic cycle and pass it on to someone else, but that's not why you're here. You're here to stare at this pattern in its face, and instead of propagating it, to meet it with kindness and gentleness. And let me tell you right now, Palfrey, that is not easy. You've been set a task. You've been set a task. But where/when does this pattern come from? The world in reverse. Interesting. Do you come from like a very sheltered family where everyone keeps within the family, like none of our secrets should go out, none of our ideas should be, shared outside of these four walls? Everything, you can only talk to family, you can have no friends, you can have no partners, you're not allowed to socialize outside of an approved list of friends. But where does this come from? The world in reverse. Okay, let's see the next card. Oh, this card was in reverse as well. Priestess, how are you being called to step up and lead? This deck doesn't have reversals, but I am going to keep this in reverse because these cards don't usually fall out in reverse, so there must be a reason it did. Interesting. The world in reverse and priestess in reverse. Where did this cycle come from? I think it came from like the first ancestor you had that felt a sense of loneliness. And instead of working on connecting with other people, they decided to almost spread the loneliness, ironic as it sounds. They decided that instead of making themselves better, they were going to make everyone else miserable. This might be an ancestor who lost their partner early on, or lost a sibling quite early on, and went the rest of their lives all by themselves. And instead of working on building a community around them to support them through the loss and through the grieving process, they may have chosen instead to make everyone else feel just as lost and alone as they felt. And then that cycle just propagated as time went on. That's heavy energy. Pile 3, I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this, or you've had to deal with this in the past. But the good / scary news is you're here to stop this. Let's see what what other messages the cards have for you. So how is this affecting you, and why you as a soul chose to come here to break? Strength. Yeah, didn't I say that your kindness and your gentle, tender energy is almost seen as like a weakness, whereas in reality, it is a massive strength. It is I don't think people understand what it takes to be gentle and sweet and kind in the face of all of this violence day in and day out, or all of this anger or hate day in and day out. I don't think the people around you quite understand what it takes for you to not, push that cycle forward and make it someone else's problem just because you're suffering as well. There is an immense strength to you, Pile 3, and do not let anyone ever tell you there is not. Because, oh my goodness, the things you have seen and heard and felt at like such a young age, no one should have to go through at any point in their lives, but especially this young. And the fact that you choose every single day to deny the instincts that were taught to you, because our instincts don't just happen, we learn them. And the fact that you wake up every single day and choose not to follow those and to actively make better choices than the people you've come from. It takes so much conscious effort every single day, Pile 3. And I feel like your ancestors, at least the ones who are in spirit or their higher selves, are just out here saying thank you for doing better than we did, than we ever could. Okay, the next card we have is the 4 of Wands. Celebration. Yeah, this is, you are here to celebrate. You're here to, okay, I keep hearing you're here to celebrate the downtrodden. I don't even know what that means. I know what the words individually mean, but I don't know what they mean together. What does it mean to celebrate the downtrodden, the forgotten almost? Pile 3, it feels like you are here to almost like witness the worst that life has to offer so that you can do better, so that you can make sure no one else has to see it. You're here to celebrate the antithesis of all of this, of all of this energy. And I do think that if we look at like the literal meaning of this card, I do think that your partner, the person that you end up with, if you choose to, your spouse even, might be a huge catalyst to you seeing just how powerful you are, to recognizing your own role in breaking this cycle. Next card we have is the Four of Coins in reverse. Yeah, you are not here to hold on to anything that you know your past gave you. You are here to completely like hit Control Alt Delete, to just completely get rid of all of this. It's not even like you're transmuting the energy. You're wiping the slate just completely clean. You have no tolerance for any of this toxic behavior. And if you have children, which I feel like you might do, given that you are so nurturing as a soul, if you do end up having children, I think you might go just completely no contact with this part of the family. And I think your ancestors are highly encouraging that, because it's that sense of children are so gentle and so tender. And you probably did not get the privilege of being a child when you were younger. And I think you choose every day to do better for those who come after you. I think you have a very special connection with children, maybe even with animals. Or maybe you think that you don't want to have children or raise children because of, you know, where you come from. You don't want to accidentally hurt them. And that's perfectly valid. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite a noble thing for you to make that choice so you don't hurt any new souls on this planet. That's quite admirable, Pearl 3. To clarify the strength, we have the Wheel of Fortune. I think you have gotten very lucky in many ways. Not with this situation, of course not, but in terms of not losing yourself despite all of this. In terms of surviving this. I think not many people in your position would have. And I think not many people in your position would have come out this kind and sweet and gentle. Pearl 3. I think you have gotten exceptionally lucky. I just heard that Nicki Minaj line from Moment for Life, where she said, "No, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed." I think any ancestors, even from this bloodline, who have passed over, surround you every single day to almost like bless you with the strength to deal with their own actions. That must be a harrowing feeling, to look back with a higher conscience and see what you've done, and to see how it impacts every single person from that point forward. But I definitely think you are very highly celebrated in the spirit realm, Pearl 3. And it's not because you are, you know, quite showy with your strength. It's because you hold on to that purity, that innocence and kindness and gentleness, despite your circumstances. clarify the Four of Wands. We have the Four of Cups. Lots of fours. Maybe there's 4 specific people in your life who have hurt you most. Or maybe there's 4 ancestors around you who are helping you with this. Or maybe this goes 4 generations back. That could be. The Four of Cups talks about there's blessings around you that you don't recognize yet. Maybe, okay. So you know how I said, like, the person you end up with, the person you end up marrying, if that's something you're into, will be a huge part of it. Maybe if you haven't found them yet, they're like either right around the corner or they're already in your life and you're not seeing them. Look for someone who encourages you to be this sweet, gentle, kind self. Because do you see in the imagery here, all these very ornate looking cups and all of this feels like entrapment though. Whereas this very simple looking cup out here is freedom for this person. I do believe that this person will almost like take you away, like right into the sunset with you. But they'll kind of give you the space to step away and heal yourself. And it's not going to be an easy process by any means, but you already know this. If you've survived this, you already know this. But this person will hold that space for you to be able to do that healing work. And finally, clarifying the Four of Coins in reverse, we have the Two of Swords. Okay. So with the Four of Coins in reverse, didn't we just say about cutting off contact with this side of the family? The Two of Swords usually talks about making a choice, making a smart choice, an intuitive choice. I definitely think this is advice in terms of if you think, you know, if you have children or even just for yourself, if you feel like the best way to keep everyone safe is to cut contact with this side of the family, do it. Do it with no sense of remorse or regret. Because you have to protect what's gentle inside you. You have to protect what's kind and innocent in you. And if that takes cutting away a whole bunch of people, that's fine. It's not like they respected you anyway. Wow, that was heavy. So let's take a look at a couple of advice cards for you, pile 3. Any advice on how they can break this cycle, please? Any advice on how pile? Thank you. Wait. It is not time yet. Things are being woven. Are you about to take any like drastic, unhealthy steps? Because, or like make a choice that you haven't thought through. My nose is really itchy right now, Belfry. I don't know what that is about. But whatever it is, give it a second, because it's not yet time. Because something better is around the corner. It almost feels like you're trying to escape the situation. And you're being told to just hold on just a little longer, because there's a better way to get out that you haven't seen yet. Any advice? Oh, thank you. Okay. There we go. We've got 2 more cards for you. We have loosen your grip, coping mechanisms, density, addiction, let God in. Maybe, you know, you've dealt with addiction yourself, which, you know, that's another cyclical thing, isn't it? You grow up around addiction, you tend to learn some addictive behaviors yourself. And maybe that's something to work on. Do you often feel like you're falling, pile 3? Both these cards have imagery about someone falling. And karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. You could say that again. Oh, okay, maybe you're trying to... Okay, maybe there is a significant person in your life that may not be very healthy for you. And maybe you're about to make things official with them or something of that nature, but wait. This is a karmic relationship. Give it some time, loosen your grip. This obviously doesn't apply if you truly do feel like this is this person here who will actually hold that space for you. But if it's not, if in your gut you feel like something is wrong, like this person may not be the best thing for you, give it time. Don't rush to, overcommit just because you want to get away from these people. Because that may well be a karmic relationship that propagates the cycle some more. But yeah, pile 3, that was heavy. I am so proud of you for making it this far. You shouldn't have to. You should not have to, work this hard just to survive every single day. But you're doing it anyway. And you are so strong. And I am so proud of you. But yeah, that's your reading for today. I really hope it brought you some sense of support and love and comfort. Man, I don't even know how to close this out. But thank you for sharing your energy with me regardless. You are a beautiful, powerful soul. And I am so grateful that you're here to break these cycles, because we definitely need people like you. But yeah, pile 3, thank you so much for spending some time with me and sharing your energy with me. And thanks to your ancestors for coming through with some messages for you today as well. I really hope this resonated. And if it did, then please remember to like and comment below. Subscribe to my channel for more readings and stick around for the outro where you can check out another reading on my channel. I really hope life gets easier for you. I really, really do. Sending you all of my love. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.